anything's possible.
If you try and be patient, it pays off while you're waiting. The seeds you water will grow, the rest will follow. Cause this life's what you make it, and some rules are for breaking. Destiny will play its role, you know. What's meant to be will be, even when it's not easy. Live your life free, no boundaries, even when it's not easy. If you give love, you get love. If you give up, you get nothing. Can't you see? If you just believe anything's possible, don't rush too much. When it gets rough, get tough, sing with me. Through everything, anything is possible. Doesn't always make sense why some things gotta happen. Fight through the rain, cause you know the sun will follow. If you practice persistence, somebody's gonna witness. You're working hard and it shows, you know. What's meant to be will be, even when it's not easy. Live your life free, no boundaries, even when it's not easy. If you give love, you get love. If you give up, you get nothing. Can't you see? If you just believe anything's possible, don't rush too much. When it gets rough, get tough, sing with me. Through everything, anything is possible. Are you ready to go? I've waited for a long time. I must be out of my mind. Now I'm ready for this to start. When the lights go out, it's so dark. When the moment comes, you'll find the part. Are you ready to go? Go, go, go. Are you ready to go? Go, go, go. Are you ready to go?
Well, good evening, everyone. So glad to have you on tonight's webinar. My name is Jansen Lemley. I serve as the camping director for Southeast Michigan and for DeBray Scout Ranch. And I know outside right now the weather is fantastic. I actually had a session today with Joe Lewis, your camp director, who just turned on his webcam, and we were out at the ranch, and how crazy the past 3 weeks have been. 3 weeks ago, I made a visit to the Ranch, and it was negative 10 degrees outside. And today it was almost 70. There's lots of thawing, lots of mud, but camp is going to be ready here in just a matter of months as we get ready to welcome all of you to DeBray for another amazing summer and to kind of shake off all the stuff that's been going on and provide you and your scouts and your family with an incredible experience that will be scrapbook worthy, Instagram worthy, Facebook worthy, however you want to share it or keep that a memory. We are sure to be able to provide it. And that's why we're here tonight, is we want to talk to you about some of the logistics, some of the things that you would need to know to make an informed decision for your pack, your den, your family about why come into DeBray Scout Ranch for our Cub Scout camps is the best decision for each and every one of you. So with that being said, it looks like Joe has his camera on. I'm going to turn it on over to Joe to kick things off, and we'll get started.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our webinar this evening. Like Jansen said, I am Joe Lewis. I am the camp director for this summer camp, along with the year-round program director, and I am extremely excited to be here with you all tonight. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Let's go on to the next slide. So I wanted to share our mission statement with all of you. It's something that you're going to hear over and over again because it is our promise as the camp staff and the MCC and DeBray Scout Ranch to you as folks that are looking to come here and experience the wonderful things that we have. So we, the camp leadership and staff of DeBray Scout Ranch, are dedicated to providing our customers and guests with legendary camp service while participating in our life-enhancing year-round outdoor programs. We are committed to providing the facilities, programs, services, and camp leadership that will consistently exceed the expectations of our customers and guests. Our scout camps will be safe havens for experiencing the best of the adventures and values of the Boy Scouts of America. Let's go on to the next slide. So some of the things that we're going to be covering tonight, we're going to start with Webelos and Cub Overnight Camp, how to register for Webelos and Cub Overnight Camp, Family Camp at the Ranch, how to register for Family Camp, frequently asked questions, and COVID-19 procedures.
Well, thank you for that quick little video there. We want camp to be a fun, amazing experience, but we know before we can even remotely get to that point, we need to be able to provide you with a safe experience, a safe opportunity, and we want you to know what we are doing from a precaution and a protocol standpoint to ensure the safety of your scout, your family, your kids, whoever is coming to camp with us this summer. You can't do all the fun, amazing experience stuff unless you feel like DeBary Scout Ranch is a safe environment for you to learn and grow and explore and play. And so we want to briefly just touch on kind of the elephant in the room, which are the COVID precautions and what we're working on. So just a couple of things here in regards to, or to add on to what you saw in the video. So we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know where camp's going to be at this summer, but we're trying to prepare and plan for where we anticipate it being. So the first thing is masks are going to need to be worn, whether we're indoors or outdoors. While you're on the ranch property, we're going to expect our scouts, our staff, and our adults to be wearing masks. We are going to be setting our groups into smaller groups that we call pods, and so a pod is going to be no more than 3, no less than 3, no more than 10 people. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to minimize the amount of cross-contamination of people as they're going to and from, and also if something were to arise or someone were to get sick, it allows us to have the ability to contact trace in an easier fashion. One of the questions that we've heard a lot on the webinar from last week as we kicked off camp is when it comes to tenting in a camp, there's a rule for our Scouts BSA folks that it's 1 scout per tent, and that rule applies here as well, but knowing that you're coming as a family, a parent and a scout, or a guardian and a scout, that it's 1 family per tent. So if you're from the same household, you're able to share that tent, but 2 scouts from different households would not be able to utilize that same tent for their sleeping arrangements. As you gear up to come to DeBary this summer, we are going to ask each and every one of our families to do a pre-camp screening checklist. We're going to ask you to be mindful and diligent in the weeks leading up to your time coming to camp to ensure that you're going to be healthy and ready to participate in all of the activities that we have. And we'll be providing that to you as the summer approaches. Each day you're at camp, we're going to be doing a daily health screening to ensure that you were healthy to get into camp, but are you remain healthy? Do you still feel well? Is your temperature where it needs to be? Just trying to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to ensure we're taking care of everyone that's at the camp, because once you step on the camp property, you're part of the ranch family, and it's Joe and I's job to make sure that we're taking care of you as part of our family. And the last thing on there is that because of COVID this year, we are not going to be allowing any visitors. So the people that come into camp to participate will be the ones that will be allowed to be in attendance, but anyone that's coming and going, or people that are stopping in just to say hi, this year we're going to have to say no. But hopefully back in 22, we will be able to allow visitors and folks to stop in and see all the great things that are going on. So Joe, can you? We're going to hop to the next slide, and can you tell us about Webelos and Cub overnight camp?
Absolutely. So Webelos and Cub overnight camp for people going into the 2nd through 5th grade. That's going into 2nd through 5th grade. So if you have a 1st grader that wants to come, is going into 2nd grade in the fall, they can come to summer camp this summer for the Webelos and Cub overnight camp. So let's get right into it. Next slide, please. So the theme this year is road trip. As you know, we've all been stuck inside all year round, so we want you to explore the extravagant world in the United States of America. So we're going to take you to places like the Florida Keys. We're going to take you to Montana to be a cowboy. You're going to pan for gold in Yosemite, and so much more. It's going to be an exciting, amazing, fun time doing a road trip with all of our staff. All of our DBAR Leaders Guide is going to list our session dates, but they're here as well. So session 1 is July 28th through 31st. Session 2, July 31st through August 3rd. Session 3, August 5th through 8th. and Session 4, August 8th through 11th. And it's important to note, while we accept all people going into the 2nd through 5th grade, the advancement portion of this is for Webelos Scouts. Next slide, please. So what are some of the amazing and awesome things that you can do while you're at the ranch for Webelo and Cub Camp? Well, ride a horse. You can ride a horse, get on a horse, go for a trail ride if you're age 10 and up, or spend some time on a corral ride if you're not age 10 and up. It's going to be a lot of fun either way. Our wranglers are an amazing group of people that love to do this for a living and love spreading their enthusiasm for their horsemanship. We also offer outdoor skills. The aquatics area has a wide variety of boats, a big swimming area, and inflatables. So you can jump on the trampoline, go on the blob, whatever it is we can offer this summer. We're going to make sure that it's fun and exciting. We have archery, BB, and pellet. I believe we have pellet guns to be determined as we continually go through the inventory that lies here at the ranch. Arts and crafts, and we have a variety of pens that we're going to be either offering an entire pen for or partially. So Castaway, Game Design, Maestro, First Responder, Webelos Walkabout, Adventures in Science, Yo-Yos, Aquanaut, Art Explosion, Cast Iron Chef, Into the Woods, Build It, Sports. We're offering them all. Left and right, anything that you want to take, we got you. I have not seen a Webelos camp with this many pens go off, so I'm really excited to see exactly what we can offer while you're spending some time with us at the ranch. Next slide, please. So the value and cost, it is $150 per person, but with that you get an amazing deal. You not only get to experience some awesome dining facilities with our hay pavilion where we're going to be eating all of our meals, you also get free tent and cots upon request. So if you don't have a tent, you feel more comfortable with us setting up a tent before you even come to camp, we offer that. If you want, or we have activity areas, we have showers, we have flushable toilets, and each campsite is equipped with a latrine. We have a fully trained and paid professional staff. They have already been here for 5 weeks hosting Scouts BSA camp and are now going to be going over and doing Cub and Webelo camp and having an amazing time. And then I'll also be there as the full-time professional scouter, making sure that you are taken care of, that you have everything that you need, and that we're having a great time. And we also will be offering a patch to each participant. And we have pre-orders available for shirts as well. So if you wanted to order a shirt to commemorate this awesome experience, then you can go ahead and do so as we are incorporating that into our registration website. Next slide, please. All right, day 1 schedule. So this is the schedule for the entire week at camp. This will be a round-robin rotation. So day 1 schedule, you'll arrive at camp, you'll have a camp tour, there'll be a leaders meeting, dinner, we'll do evening flags, have a campfire, and then lights out. Everybody get to sleep by 10 o'clock. Hopefully after an exciting first day and a long car ride, as most of us in Michigan know, as we all travel up north anyways, most of our kids are tired by the time we arrive. Day 2, we have an exciting breakfast that'll be full and hearty, followed by 2 sections of program in the morning where Scouts will be given a particular rotation to go to. Lunch at 12:15, 2 rotations in the afternoon for program, dinner, and then a 5th rotation in the evening. The next day follows the same exact kind of program schedule where we have 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 1 in the evening, followed by a closing campfire. And then day 4 schedule is breakfast followed by dismissal. So for COVID-19, we are putting forth a round-robin rotation during the entirety of the camp to make sure that everybody gets to all the areas and gets to do all the cool things, because that's really important. Next slide, please. So how do you register for Cub and Webelo camp? Well, I'll show you. Next slide, please. So the first thing you're going to do is go to www.michiganscouting.org. The URL is right there at the top of the screen. You're going to hover over the Outdoor Adventures drop-down menu and then click on Cub Scout Overnight Camp. Next slide, please. After you've clicked on Cub Scout Overnight Camp, you're going to scroll down the page to about a fifth of the way down. You're going to see DeBaret Scout Ranch and all of our sessions. If you click on the red box where the arrow is pointing, that large red box that says DeBaret Scout Ranch, it'll take you to the next slide. Where you'll come to this beautiful screen, which is our registration website, 247 or scoutingevent.com, where you get to pick which session you would like to come to. So there's a large write-up of all the things that we're going to be offering in the Jack Lord section of camp. And then all you have to do is pick which section you want and hit one of the green register buttons. Next slide. And that is how you register for camp. I'm going to hand it back over to Jansen to talk about family camp at the ranch this summer.
Thank you, Joe. So we are excited to offer this new and unique opportunity where we are going to be providing family camps, which we open to all of our Cub Scout age scouts along with the rest of their families. So let's go ahead and dive on into it. Next slide. So what is family camp? So family camp is designed for the whole family to enjoy an experience, a family-friendly experience of DeBaret. You don't need to be a registered scouter. And family camp is an overnight program here at the ranch, and it's brought to you by our local district of volunteers. So I've actually been partnering with our districts, and they are going to be working alongside of me to be able to provide the program, the volunteers, and help with the recruitment as we provide you this 24-hour camp experience at DeBaret. Next slide. So here's our host. And so when I say host, what that means is that this district has said, you know what, me and my team think that we can put something together, and we're going to advertise it to everyone that we can. So even though we have 3 districts on here that are hosting them, they're open up to every scout in the Michigan Crossroads Council and beyond if they wanted. But I do want to call out and say thank you to our chairmen that are leading these efforts. So our first family camp is being hosted on July 31st, and that is being hosted by Chippewa and Renee Keach. And I know Renee's on the call tonight, so thank you, Renee, for your leadership and for taking the charge with the first family camp at the ranch. The second one is being held in the middle of August, on August 14th. That's being hosted by the Podman district, and our chairman there is David McKinnon. And last but not least, we have the family camp at the ranch hosted by Ottawa District on August 21st, being hosted, or the contact and chair for that is Chuck Williams. And so we're excited to have our folks here that are going to be leading this effort and providing you with a experience that comes to you from the district where scouting really lives and breathes, and we're so excited to be partnering with these districts. And the hope would be that in years to come we could have more districts that want to participate and to provide a unique experience for their specific district. But know that no matter what district you're from, you can go to whichever one you want, and if you wanted to go to all 3, you could do that too. Next slide. So the schedule. So what do we have in store? So again, what I referenced was a 24-hour camp. And so the goal will be that you come to camp on Saturday. We have our check-in at 10 a.m. And then everything would take place between 10 a.m. on Saturday till 10 a.m. on Sunday. So you come into camp, we do lunch at 11. From there, we would have our program sessions set from 12 until 5. In that program session, we are probably going to have to be having a more rigid schedule where we have a round-robin based, where you're going to be assigned a time slot and we'll work you around the schedule in order to fall in line with our COVID protocol. But nonetheless, we're still going to have the opportunity to experience all that the ranch has to offer. So we're going to have shooting sports. We're going to do archery, BB guns, and slingshots at the Morrison Range and the Trout Lake Sub Camp. if you've been to DeBray before. We'll have swimming and boating in our aquatics area. We'll have fishing, crafts. We'll be doing horseback riding in our Corral. And then our plan is to have an evening campfire. And I think that we can pull off an evening campfire. Not sure if we'll be able to have it in the fire bowl as we figure out what our physical distancing looks like. But nonetheless, we're going to be able to do some sort of thing to culminate that evening. And so after a program wraps up, again, the program was 12 to 5. Sorry, if you can go back just real quick. Program is from 12 to 5. We're going to do dinner where we are actually going to be providing you with your meals. So breakfast or lunch, dinner, and breakfast on Sunday morning. And then Sunday morning, as we wrap things up, we'll do breakfast at 8 a.m., chapel at 9, and then we'll be departing at 10. So next slide. So value and cost. How much does it cost and what do I get? So the value is that you get 3 meals. You get all the program that I referenced. You get camping as well as shirt and a patch for each person that's in attendance. And so our cost, just like our Webelos and Cub overnight camp, it's a per person cost. And so the way that breaks down is our early bird rate, which is what we are advertising, is $40 per person. And you just need to register 30 days prior to the start of your camp to receive that rate. And if you register within that 30-day window, then the regular rate is $50 per person. Next slide. So how to register. So again, we want to make sure that you can clearly and easily work through our website. So if you can go ahead and move to the next slide. You're going to go to michiganscouting.org. You're going to click on the outdoor adventure tab there at the top. You're going to find Cub Scout Family Camp, and you're going to click on the Family Camp link, and that's going to bring you to this page, and it'll show you all the family camps that are being offered. There's a set happening at Camp Tatanka, and then there's DeBray Scout Ranch happening there at the bottom. Go ahead and click on that red button that says DeBray Scout Ranch, and that will lead you to our registration page. And when you're on the registration page, go ahead and select what the date that you're looking for. And then also, if you need a specific question answered, my contact information is on there, as well as each of our chairmen from the specific districts are listed on this page as well. And you can let us know how we can best serve you and your family as you get ready to camp out this summer. I know we're eager to do it, and we want to make sure that we're providing an opportunity for everyone to participate, even if it is just for a 24-hour camp. I think you guys will have a memorable experience at Family Camp at the Ranch. Next slide. So Joe, I got a question for you. Who do I direct my concerns and questions about COVID procedures and policies to?
Well, Jansen, the Michigan Crossroads Council is in constant communication with the state of Michigan and all regulatory bodies. New information will be available on our website, during our webinar series, and email blasts to all of our registered units. If you have specific questions or concerns that haven't been addressed, please reach out to me, Joe Lewis. Jansen, I have a question for you. Next slide. What are the adult requirements to attend camp?
So for our Webelos and Cub overnight camp, adults over the age of 21 must have a DHS clearance form, which is a form required by the state of Michigan. An adult staying the week of camp must be registered adults in the Boy Scouts of America and also have up-to-date youth protection training. If you're coming for family camp, because it's within the window of 72 hours, only being a 24-hour camp, you don't need to be. And so we would encourage our scouts, even if they don't have a registered adult or parent or guardian that is a part of their family, they can still participate in family camp. But because of the duration for our Webelos and Cub camp, you need to do the above. So great question. All right, next slide. So Joe, what are the sleeping arrangements at camp this summer?
Well, for Webelos and Cub camps, tents and cots are available for free rentals. So if you want a tent or a cot for Webelos and Cub camp, just ask us beforehand and we will make sure that those are set up for you. Everybody else that may not want to rent one will set up their own tent or cot. For family camp though, tents and cots are available to rent for $10 a piece. or you can bring RV and campers at the cost of $25.
And
Next
if I could
slide,
speak on
please.
that real quick, just with the RV and camper, one of the things that we know is that if you have an RV and a camper, and you're bringing a younger scout, and it's just been one of those days, we want to make sure that you have all the things that you need to have to be comfortable. And so, as we worked with our family camp chairman, one of the things that they asked was, is this possible? And we want to make sure we can do everything that we can from the ranch standpoint to be able to provide you with all the accommodations that make your camping experience the best that it can be. But know that if you're coming and you're going to set up a tent, we are more than welcome to have you at the current cost, but for the additional setup and having the access to the electricity, we're going to have that additional cost of $25 for the RVs and campers. Slide.
So Jansen, what are the shower and bathroom facilities like at camp?
So this might sound like a strange question that you're asking me, but I think it's something that sometimes we overlook and we take for granted, or we assume. So at DBRA, we have flush toilets. We have hot water in our showers. These are all available. We have a shower house with porcelain that you can sit on, just like what you're used to at home. So we want to make sure that you know that some of the accommodations that you're accustomed to exist out at DBRA. Additionally, in each of our campsites, they do have a latrine, which is a non-flush type of restroom. So there's restrooms and facilities all around, and we have some sort of restroom facility that meets the needs and the liking of each and every one of our attendees.
I heard a rumor that DBRA Scout Ranch for the summer season is hiring on a couple of custodial staff as well that'll be cleaning and maintaining the shower houses and restrooms as the week progresses, and cleaning them and sanitizing them multiple times a day to ensure that they are spick and span for everybody who uses them.
You're correct, Joe. And although we don't think about it, the showers and the restrooms are probably one of the most used areas of camp. And if we don't do our due diligence to ensure that things are properly cleaned, and with all that's going on within the world now, we want to be even more sure that we're mindful of the fact that we have a clean facility for you and your scouts to utilize. Thanks, Joe.
Next slide.
So Joe, what are we gonna do this summer about food, especially with all that's going on?
Well, we are going to have absolutely delicious, immaculate, hearty, fulfilling food this year at camp. That is a 100% Joe Lewis stamped approved guarantee. It is going to be cooked. More than likely, it's going to be pre-portioned, or we might do some serving at the Hay Pavilion. We might do some serving outside of the dining hall. It really depends on which camping experience that you're going for. And we're going to make sure that these are delivered to designated dining areas that are 6 feet apart from everybody else, so that you can have a nice unmasked meal with your scout, your child. Next slide, please. So what are camp scholarships, and how do I go about applying for them?
So we know this has been a hard year. We know that there are people that are on this call, or in your den or pack, or maybe in your family, that need financial assistance. And so we have camp scholarships that are available. You can find the link for our camp scholarships on the michiganscouting.org website. We ask that you make that request be made at least 30 days prior to your registered date. Our first date for Scouts BSA camp scholarships is going to be on April 1st, and we're asking as many people as possible to have their camp scholarships in for our Cub Scout camps by May 1st. So if the only reason a scout is not considering going to camp this summer is for financial reasons, we want to know, because we as a council want to come alongside of you. We have funds that are set aside to ensure that scouts can have the opportunity to be at camp, because we know that summer camp is where the magic really happens. That's where we get to follow through on all the promises that we made to a scout when they joined the organization. And we want to make sure that we can have as many scouts come to camp as possible, because we know that scouts that go to camp are the ones that are going to stay in the program because they really got the full experience of all that the Boy Scouts of America has to offer. Next slide.
So, go ahead. Sorry. I like to take on the questions, apparently.
Oh.
Who do I send my dietary restriction information to? Jansen, did you hear my question?
I just got kicked off, Joe. I'm sorry. My internet's not doing too well. Can you go ahead and answer your own question?
Yeah, absolutely. So some voice in my head just told me if I have any dietary restrictions during the registration process, you'll actually be prompted with a dietary restriction portal to submit all of your restrictions. Make sure that you spend time and submit all of your restrictions through this portal, just so we can make sure that we are servicing you and your scouts as best as possible, whether that is through maybe they have a life choice such as vegetarian or vegan, we can accommodate that, or if it is a special allergy such as dairy or oats, nuts, whatever it may be, we can definitely take care of that. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thanks. Our next webinar is May 12th, 2021. So make sure you mark that on your calendars. It is the second Wednesday of May. It's going to be a really jam-packed, full of awesome content for you to come and see. So make sure that you go ahead and sign up for that. A link will be available, and we'll send it out to all of the attendees who came here tonight. If you have any questions, feel free to contact myself. My email is below, or Jansen, whose email is below as well. You can also follow us on Facebook, as we tend to update that a whole bunch, or you can go to michiganscouting.org/D-bar-A to check out all the amazing weekend and year-round opportunity, or weekend and summer camp opportunities that we have at the ranch. So we do have time for some questions. So if you have questions that we can answer, please go ahead and put them into the chat. We did have one from earlier from Andy. He asked, do Wolf and Bear Den Scouts get to participate in everything the Webelos and Boy Scouts get to do, like horseback riding? The answer for that for Webelos and Cub Camp is yes. All of your Wolf and Bear Scouts can do just about everything that the Webelos can while they're at camp. If they want to go horseback riding in particular, they are more than welcome to do so. Corral rides are available for all ages, for the most part, excluding tigers and lions. So just make sure that you come to camp. You can also look up all of the age-appropriate guidelines by typing exactly that, age-appropriate guidelines, BSA, into Google, and it comes up with a handy-dandy 2-page sheet that shows you exactly what each category of youth can do.
Joe, here's a question that just came in for you. Should we attempt to sign up as a den if we are Webelos, or should we sign up as individuals?
You should attempt to sign up as a den, because everything is cooler when you bring a buddy with you, and that counts for everything in life. So make sure that you get a hold of all your buddies in your den and you sign up together so that we know exactly who we should put together in our pods, who we should put together in the campsites together. It's all extremely useful information for every single year, but more importantly for this year as we take COVID precautions in mind.
A question came up here about from Blake Stillwell. Thanks, Blake. It's good to see you on the call. And it says, in the past, let me see here. The question was about the DHS clearance form. And so this is a form that's required by the state of Michigan for any adult that is attending a a summer camp program. So in our terms, that's anything that's over 72 hours, which would be our Cub and Weeblo overnight camps. And so that's a process where we, in our leaders guide, there is a link to it. You go through and fill out the form. Anyone that is coming during our Weeblos and Cub overnight camp will need to be, one, a registered scouter, and two, will need to have their clearance form with them. So you fill out the form, you send it in to your local office, and then you get a copy of that form back. Bring a copy with you, and you need to present that with you when you come into camp. If it's for our weekend camping or our family camp, in this case, the DHS form is not required. We'd love for you to have it, but it's not required. So, Joe, the other thing that I would say that has come up in our webinar and even tonight is that there's so many possible questions and scenarios as we go into this summer that we're not necessarily going to have the answer for all of them quite yet, but we're going to figure it out. And so what we would ask is that if you have a question, or maybe there's a particular scout that you just need help with, or figuring out how to make something work, please reach out to us. The information that we provided is the information that's going to work for 95% of the people that are going to come to camp this summer. But we know it's not necessarily exactly cut and dry. And so let us know how we can help you. And so if a question comes up, let us know. We want to be a partner with you, your pack, and your den, and your family to figure out how we can get you to camp this summer and what we can do to make your experience at the ranch the best that it can be. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Here's another question, Joe, that came in. What is the total allowable attendance for camp?
That is an awesome question. So we are prepared to jam-pack all of our camps with as many scouts as possible within limits, right? We can't have 10 million scouts coming to DeBoer Scout Ranch, rattling at the gates, telling us to let them in. But we can have a pretty large capacity. So we have 4 scheduled scout or Weeblos and Cub camp sessions available, and each of those sessions could easily hold up to 150 plus scouts. And I know that for our family camps, we have quite a large capacity as well. So do not fear, we have plenty of space for everybody at the ranch.
So the addendum to that then is, the question is, since we have 10 sessions or 10 periods within the course of our Weeblos and Cub camp, how many people will be included in each pod and group?
That is a great question. So right now, Michigan, the state of Michigan is telling us that a pod needs to consist of 3 to 10 people. So our areas, we are lucky enough to have quite a large camp, over 1,700 acres available to us. So the possibility of expanding areas and putting things or moving areas as seen fit to support the maximum amount of pods possible in an area is something that we can absolutely do.
So Nicholas, I believe that was Nicholas that asked the question. That's a great problem that we're looking forward to having and to figuring out. So our pods, again, would be between that 10 and 3, and then we're looking at having no more than 2 sets of pods at any given time. The things that we need to consider are the activities that we're doing. Do we have the ability to have the physical distancing? And then being mindful that for most of the case, every scout has a parent or guardian that's with them, or if they're coming, something along those lines. And so it's not just going to be our 10 scouts, but a mixture of youth and adults that will be but we will work to ensure that we can figure out how to have a positive experience, especially if you're bringing your whole pack and we have a lot of kids. We're going to find a way to make it make the most sense. And that's something that we can work through together with you and your leadership. So please reach out if that's a hurdle that you're running into. We can find a way to come to a good compromise for all of you. So Blake's response was so good point. So it's 5 scouts and 5 parents for 10. I think that's the message. In essence, yes. For Webelos Camp, you can bring for every 4 Webelos, you can have 1 adult. So you could have 1 den leader that brought 4. So in essence, you could have a total of 8 scouts that are overseen by 2 adults. And so you have that flexibility. Now, we would love to have every parent come, but we're going to figure that out and work through each of those scenarios as we look at each a specific pack as it relates to how are we going to set up our pods and the rotation during your experience at Webelos and Cub Overnight Camp. Joe, I think we got to all of the questions. If there's anything else, Joe and I are going to stick on for just a few more minutes. So the other thing too, just in the back of your mind, feel free to check us out on Facebook. When you're on Facebook, I believe our family camp have events that are set. So we'd love for you to be able to share that you're going to family camp this summer and invite other families to participate in what's going on. The more, the merrier. I think as we've been watching the news, I just heard from a friend of mine that campgrounds throughout the state parks are kind of sold out for this summer because people are excited to be out and about, and camp's excited to have you. So let's invite as many parents and families as possible. So question came up, Joe. So as a current bear den leader, so come June 1st, you'll be a Webelos Den leader as you transition. I can host 4 of my group in their own tents, myself and my son as 1 tent, and 3 additional tents. That would be correct for Nicholas. So 1 person per tent. If you're coming from the same family, a parent and a kid could stay in the same tent. That is correct.
Absolutely.
Sarah on here asked a question, and she said, we have a den of 12 scouts. Would we have them sign up individually for the session? Will it note our pack and den? So if they sign up on their own, will they have the ability to make that notation, Joe?
Yes, you will. There is a comment section in every single registration that you do, whether that's for family camp or another camp, and you can denote which pack or den you are a part of so that we can ensure that you are together with your friends.
Andy Wolf asked the question, are the tents that are provided, do they need screening? They're actually dome tents that have a floor and a screen door within them. So no need for you to buy additional or bring additional like mosquito netting. So they're not the traditional canvas wall tent that you might have seen at jamborees or Boy Scout camps in years past. We found that the dome tent works really well for this age group. Renee Keach made a comment about our adults. So we must have a minimum of 2 adults for youth protection, and that is true. The thing that we will work to ensure is as we establish the pods and what the campsites look like, if there is just a single scout and parent that come, we will find ways to make some connections to ensure that there's two deep leadership in each of our campsites. So great point there. Kat asked if there is a camp map. There is. Joe, where could Kat find, or Kate, find a camp map at?
Absolutely. The easiest place to find your camp map would be on our website, michiganscouting.org. If you hover over Outdoor Adventures and find yourself under our either the Cub Scout Overnight Camp or the Cub Family Camp, and download our adult leader guide for camp. It is in the appendices of that book. That is the easiest, most straightforward way that I know of in order to find the camp map. And I highly suggest reading the leader's guide as you work your way towards it.
Thank you, Joe. And as you look at the DeBray map, the map is big. There's a lot that we offer at the ranch. It's 1,700 acres, and we have 3 subcamps within it. And so if you need help to figure things out or to navigate through, that's where Joe and I come into play. Please reach out to us, ask questions. We would love for you to ask the questions now and get them all out as you're trying to figure out how do we go back and pitch this to our pack or to our den. And so we want to make sure we help you now versus a week before camp, you potentially being frustrated because you're not quite sure. And so let us help you now. We want to be able to help make those connections, answer those questions. And if Joe and I can be of a resource to you and your pack or den to help convince more families to participate, let us know. Camp's no fun if there's no scouts. And so we want to make sure that the program that we're putting on, we can have as many families and scouts as possible. And so if Joe and I can play a part in that with your unit, please let us know. Joe, question came in from Andy. Where do we find a recording of this webinar if some of our scout parents missed this webinar? That's a great question, Andy.
That is an absolutely wonderful question. You can find that on our website, but you can also find it in email format. We will be sending a follow-up email to everybody that attended this webinar tonight. In that, we will include a link to the YouTube video that this webinar will exist as, and we will also include a whole bunch of other information. So feel free to go ahead and look at your email, and also be on the Michigan Crossroads Council YouTube page. So if you're feeling antsy and you really want to keep checking to make sure it's going to get posted, go ahead and watch the YouTube page. Make sure you hit the subscribe and click the little bell to get notifications.
I was actually on the website today, so when you go to michiganscouting.org, click on the Outdoor Adventure tab, and then find the Cub Scout overnight camp link. When you go to there, there's actually already a space that says DBRA Cub Scout webinar coming soon. And so we're already prepared for it. As soon as we have the chance to download this and render it, we will be uploading it. And so you'll be able to find it on there in the next 24 to 48 hours. All right, one more question for you, Joe. Says, I went to the camp page and don't see the DBRA on the Cub Scout side.
Absolutely. So all you have to do is on the Cub Scout Webelos camp side, just go down to DBRA Scout Ranch and click that logo. The sessions are shared, so they are one session. They are Cub and Webelo overnight camp. So it is only on the Webelos side of the page, but it is for Cubs and Webelos. And when you click on DBRA Scout Ranch, or you click on that, you will see that it says that DBRA Scout Ranch, Webelos, and Cub overnight.
It looks like she's got you. We got the thumbs up from her. So
Great.
Appreciate that, Joe. All right, last call for questions. We wanted to be mindful and respectful of your time, so we wanted to make sure we got through our presentation to give you guys all the adequate information. Some of you had asked also about the slide deck. Joe and I would be more than happy to share this out with you as well, as some of you are the camp promotion chairs within your own pack, and you might be doing a similar presentation as you add your own little tweaks to it to be specific to your pack. Blake has a question here. Blake says, as you mentioned, DBRA is pretty large. Can you give an idea of the range of the Cubs, i.e. how far are things Jack Lord to Trout Lake, the Cub Scout shooting range, just up the hill? So Joe, where is Cub Scout overnight camp going to take place at?
Absolutely. So Cub and Webelo overnight camp will all happen in the Jack Lord subcamp. We will be utilizing all of the program areas in the Jack Lord subcamp, so you don't even have to worry about going over to Trout Lake. If you're in family camp, you will be over in Trout Lake and experiencing some really amazing things over there. But for overnight camp, you will be in Jack Lord. You'll be using the Jack Lord trading post, the Jack Lord hay pavilion, the shooting ranges, everything. So everything, honestly, isn't too far from one another. We are Xing off some of the really far out, more towards Beaver Creek subcamp campsites so that we can centralize everything as much as possible. So the biggest hike should only take about 15 minutes from our furthest campsite to our furthest program area or dining pavilion.
So the next question came in is how far is parking from camping? And so we have, so within the sub camp, from the parking lot that we have to our main dining area is less than a quarter mile. As we set everything up, we really have the mindset of, all right, if I was ages 7, 8, 9, 10, or whatever our 2nd through 5th graders are, what is a feasible amount of space for them to walk to? But when you come to camp, you don't have to park your vehicle at the front of camp and then hike the mile in. Your vehicle will be close by and will allow you to be able to come in, drop your gear, and head to your from your campsite, head to the parking lot to store your vehicle for the duration of the resident camp. All right, Joe, looks like these questions have been great. We know there's going to be more questions that come, which is why we have preemptively scheduled that May 12th webinar, knowing that there's going to be new things that arise, and we want to make sure that we are keeping you up to speed and are transparent with things as they come along. So please, please, 1, register for what's going on May 12th. 2, we want to make sure that you're getting your reservations in, being mindful that the early bird rate for our Webelos and Cub overnight camp actually goes up on May 15th, which is just a few days after our next webinar that is scheduled. And so want to make sure that you have all the information to make an informed decision, and that you're also being mindful of the dates that are coming up. So got another question for you. This comes from Nicholas. He says, do you offer wheelchair access for Cub Scouts at camp at all? We have one scout whose father is wheelchair bound and would like to know if that would be feasible.
Yes, it is feasible. So we not only offer a shuttle service in case of those who are in need of it, but we also have, DeBarre, in my opinion, is a very accessible camp. For 90% of it, I would say. There are some portions that are harder to get back to without the use of our shuttle service, but for the most part, showers, bathrooms, everything of the sort is wheelchair accessible. And Jansen, you can correct me if I'm wrong in speaking that, but that's been my experience with it.
No, I think that you're right on. The one thing that we would ask is that for those that are that are wheelchair bound, is that our roads are primarily gravel based, and some of them have mulch on the trails, and so working to ensure that you have the adequate tires on your wheelchair to make sure that you're able to move about the terrain at camp. And then with Nicholas, with your specific question, if you'd like to talk about it more, please let us know. Or if we can work with that specific family, let us know how we can make sure that that father can be a part of his Scout's life. All right, Joe, I don't see any more questions. It looks like we are wrapping up. Joe, thanks again for your leadership and for what you're doing. Joe, officially for everyone, Joe has been on the job for roughly 70 days. He started on January 1st, and he's hit the ground running and is ready to provide you guys with a great camp experience this summer. And I'm looking forward to partnering with him and helping support him with our Webelos and Cub overnight camp and for the partnerships that I have with our district volunteers for our family camps at the ranch. So again, thank you guys so much. It's such a pleasure to see you virtually, and I can't wait to be able to sing a song to Air High Five when you're out at the ranch this summer.
Thank you so much.
Have a great night, everyone.